Oh my goodness. Thunder Nuggets. What a basketball game that was. Two of the best teams in the Western Conference, two of the best teams in the NBA, especially when they are healthy. This was, as we talked about, 2 games of Jason Tatum. This is also the second game in the return of Aaron Gordon. And buddy, did he make his presence felt very early on in that basketball game. But Nuggets still not completely healthy, and the Thunder were missing Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein and Jalen Williams and Alex Caruso. And it ends up being a 129-126 victory for the Oklahoma City Thunder in this one. Shai ties the Wilt record for most consecutive regular season games with at least 20 points and hits the game-winning 3 with 2.7 left. Nikola Jokic with yet another triple-double, and he was absolutely nuts in the second half of that basketball game. And so, broadly speaking, Steve, I'll start with this question. Did you feel like we learned anything about this game, or was it just a great game?
I think it was a great game. I think there's always an opportunity to learn things. And I think when you look at Denver and OKC, for Denver, the lesson has to be we don't have a large margin for error in this matchup, but we can do some things against this team. And if you're OKC, we're a machine on both ends of the floor, and you have to deal with us. And so I think OKC being able to have the knowledge of, yes, we have our 2 bigs that are very good, but we also can play small against this team and we can do different things defensively. But it was such a back and forth battle in a way that I just don't know if it's being appreciated as much. Because I think sometimes if you're a fan of a team, you can kind of really get in that bubble mode, right? Where it's like, okay, I have this feeling about my team. I'm going to talk about my team in a certain way. I'm not going to appreciate necessarily the things they did because they lost. I understand that portion. Denver did a lot of good things defensively as far as being able to work to give multiple efforts, to have rotations, to keep Jokic low, to switch and, help on drives. Like, they had a lot of good reps and a lot of good possessions. OKC's just so good that they're not going to stop. I think that's kind of the thing that we've seen with the Thunder this season is an understanding and a confidence in what they do offensively to continue to attack. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, very quickly, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was outstanding in that game. He's been great all year. But if you're going to sit here and say the Oklahoma City Thunder win because of their defense or win because of anything, you are underrating what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has to do on every single night and the ability and skill that he has to get to whatever spot he wants to get to on the court and make a shot. If you want to talk about push-offs, you want to talk about foul drawing, talk about the other half as well. Because what he does is not easy. And Denver was working to try and show help, show doubles. And Shai having just kind of the moments where he said, actually, I'm just going to drive, straight line drive, finish. I can get to my step back 2 whenever I want. The step back 3 counter, especially you saw late in the game. What do you do with that? Because, okay, we're not doubling. I'm not going all the way to the rim. I'm going to get whatever I want. That puts pressure on you. On the flip side, it's always interesting with Denver, the moments where a team decides, hey, Nikola Jokic, we're going to ask you to score the basketball. And he decides to deliver on that and says, actually, I would like to score the basketball. I'm going to several times in a row. And that third quarter where they just said, you know what, Nikola Jokic, bring the ball up the court, wing pick and roll. Let's see what they do and let's play out of it. And we'll get a roll every now and then. If we get a switch, you get a catch, you drive. You put pressure on this team. If you're going to stay at home, cool. And he scores in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable about it, right? Like it's unconventional. You feel bad about it. And it's like, okay, I need to show help. And the minute you show help, the ball is gone. So you just don't feel good about any of the decisions that you've made. And I think that's the beauty of that back and forth. And also, it was a very good bit from David Adelman to start the fourth quarter with Nikola Jokic, but only for a minute. Hey, don't worry about the non-Jokic minutes, man. He's going to stay on the court. And then they played well and he took him out and then gave him a little bit of rest. So there's a balancing act. I think Denver's trying to figure out their rotation to a degree with Aaron Gordon back and trying to figure out the best lineups. And okay, when do we play JV? Who do we play together? How do we get the most out of Christian Brown and Cam Johnson? Like, I think that you learned a lot about where they need to go if you're Denver, right? If you're Oklahoma City, you learn that you need to keep trusting in what you do on both ends of the floor. So it was a really, really fun game.
Oh, man. Okay, I want to hang on Denver for a minute because as you were talking about what they did in the third quarter to get Jokic's touches, very quickly on that front. Because I was watching that game like, oh my goodness, OKC just does not have an answer for this. Like he's Nikola Jokic, so you don't really have answers for him anyway. But when you're factoring in, you don't have the shot blocking and the overall length of Chet. You don't have just the literal bulk of Isaiah Hartenstein. Jalen Williams is doing his best, and he had himself one heck of a game. I think career high 7 made threes in that one. So I don't want to diminish him. He is just smaller than Jokic. And so it's just like, well, we don't want to give up cuts or we don't give up catch and shoot threes. We're just going to battle and maybe show some late help. And Nikola Jokic in that like 5 to 10 foot range, just sprinkle again, shot after shot after shot after shot. Maybe look it up after the game once things updated on Second Spectrum, Steve. So the league average on shots between 5 and 10 feet, we're talking about like literal like floater range, the league average is 44%. Nikola Jokic converts 59% of those shots on some of the highest volume in the league. What in blazes do you do with a guy that is bigger than you, can make any pass in the book, and because he's bigger than you, he can shoot over you and is over 15 percentage points above league average in that range? A shot that you quote unquote want to give up because you don't want to give up threes, you don't want to give up shots at the rim. What do you do with that? The answer in that third quarter was largely nothing. The other thing I wanted to point on with Denver going to the first quarter, I was so annoyed. It's funny that we have a picture of Jokic and Lou Dort on. This is just basketball brain, so excuse me. The Nuggets ran Chicago action, what felt like 30 times in that first quarter, and Lou Dort got clipped on every single one of them. And I'm just like, how is this not being defended better than it is? Before you even get into like how good Jokic is, how good Jamal Murray is, et cetera, I'm just like, how are y'all getting blasted on this every time down? It is Jokic in the middle of the floor. We are going to have Christian Brown set an all-ball screen for Jamal Murray to come off a handoff. And it felt like Lou Dort was just not ready for it anytime they ran it. Like, you have seen this team 40 times over the last 12 months. I just didn't get that part. But anyway, fantastic back and forth to your point, Steve. And circling back to Shai for a moment, 35 points, 15 assists. You don't see those games very often. You don't see 35 very often. You don't see 15 assists very often. You don't see that in the same game very often. To do that with 0 turnovers at the same time is insane. And to do that with 0 turnovers with how often, to your earlier point, Steve, the Nuggets were like, nope, we're putting 2 on the ball. Oh, you have crossed half court. We are sending a second defender towards you. Oh, you're trying to get into the straight line drive without a screen. Nope, we are showing bodies. I posted a screenshot at the end of the first quarter of the last possession.
You're a screenshot? You're a screenshot poster now? Come on, man.
We do a little bit of both. You got to be versatile these day and age, Steve. But I posted a screenshot.
No, absolutely not. I'm not letting you get that off. Stop posting screenshots. It's not how basketball works.
Of course it isn't how basketball works. That's why you always post it. You also post the video. But I laughed at how Denver was loading up before Shai wanted to attack at the end of the first quarter. I think it's Christian Brown that had the assignment. It's like Jokic above the 3-point line for the strong side corner. It's somebody else kind of lurking, ready to double. It's just like, you're showing this while he is standing at half court before the drive. And then the drive actually happens and they're like trying to flood him, of course. And it's another kick for him at the end of the first. And it's just like, you're seeing this amount of defensive attention and you put together that game and cap off that game with that shot, or those shots rather. It was one of my favorite games of the season overall. But if you're talking about individual performances, what Jokic and Shai did in that game was incredible. But Shai slammed the door. It was unbelievable. Can I ask you a question?
Can I say something before you ask me the question?
Yes, you can.
Because I have a Denver thought. And I think that it's not been a fun few weeks if you're a Denver Nugget fan, right? There's been some losses that have stacked up. Probably not feeling the best about it. You fall into the 6th seed after having a metronome of a year. You're in a weird place where you're just not winning at home anymore. Like, you're 17-13. You have the same home record as the Los Angeles Clippers. Like, that's probably not what you anticipated. The one thing I will say, if you look at who they've played and what they've faced, right? They've had to face, Cleveland, the Clippers, Golden State, Oklahoma City twice, Minnesota, New York, the Lakers. You have tested your defense and tried different things as far as doubling and showing Jokic on the baseline and do we want to double there? Working to keep Jokic low, switching. You've had to implement different things defensively. And so have the reps gone as well as you want consistently? Probably not. I wouldn't argue that. But you have had the reps. And so this could be a moment where this adversity pays off down the line because, okay, we've workshopped different things. We've workshopped different lineups. We've workshopped different schemes. We've workshopped trapping and pick and roll. We've workshopped being in a drop. We've workshopped Jokic on a non-shooter, keeping him low. We've workshopped switching and rotating. And does that help them long-term, even if it's hurting them right now, is where it gets interesting for me.
Okay. Well, Steve, we have been doing this podcast for way too long because my question for you was going to be, hey, how did you feel about Nikola Jokic on Lou Dort and some of the different looks that they tossed out with him in that game? And so as you go into that, I don't feel like I actually need to ask you that question because you kind of already answered it. So salute to you. salute to you on that front. I guess, okay.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think to answer your question that you're not asking, I think it's about Denver being able to do multiple things and having different things in their back pocket. And I think there were a couple of possessions where they really did a good job of switching and rotating and recovering and helping each other. It's just the amount of times you have to do that and can you consistently nail the multiple efforts. And so that was probably my bigger thing. Like, okay, they're going to have to be this. And that matchup against Houston gets real fascinating real quick. But go ahead, Nekias.
Okay, well, I guess just to quickly pivot, I'll circle back to Aaron Gordon, who finished with 23 and 10 in this game. He had 19 points in the first quarter, and it was a very loud example of, one, just how good and important Aaron Gordon is, and two, how problematic he is in this particular matchup. Because I think the one thing, at least that I've consistently said on this podcast, as I have been very high on the OKC experience, has been, hey, they don't really have, if there's one thing they don't really have like the 6'7", 6'8", bulky forward power defender type. Gosh darn it. They don't really have that mold of player, at least not consistently in their rotation. And so Aaron Gordon comes back and OKC starts the game with Lou Dort on Jamal Murray, the Chicago action reps notwithstanding. And they had Case and Wallace on Aaron Gordon. And immediately I was like, ooh, we are going to get some duck ins from Aaron Gordon. And that may be problematic for the OKC defense, especially since they have Jalen Williams on Jokic and he's also smaller than Jokic. I did not anticipate this being the Aaron Gordon shot making plus Aaron Gordon cuts plus the Aaron Gordon duck in. Like the back-to-back threes from Aaron Gordon to kind of cap a run in the first quarter. I was like, oh, he's just doing this. Like Aaron Gordon is just a good shooter now. It's just kind of wild. And so it was cool to kind of see that example of this is what he provides. This is why he is so important to what Denver does on both ends of the floor. For that matter, like he was part of the help being shown for Denver's defense, some of the switching they were able to tap into as well. But like it's very loud, hey, welcome back, Aaron Gordon. You are dominating this matchup. But then the other three quarters happened. And so very quickly, 19 points, 3 of 4 on twos, 2 of 2 on threes, 6 of 7 from the line in the first quarter. Rest of the game, 4 points, 1 of 6 inside the arc with some very interesting pull-up attempts coming early in the clock there. Did not make a three, still perfect from the line, but just wasn't the same bit. So they do need a level of consistency for him. And so just kind of balancing, be aggressive because you can take advantage of matchups and also, hey, we still want to be us holistically. But again, that's more of a single game thing than like, I'm worried Aaron Gordon's going to hijack the offense or something ridiculous like that. But I want to salute Aaron Gordon on that front. And also welcome back AJ Mitchell. Just having another guy that can get downhill and attack tilted defenses or do the tilting of defense. I think he was very important off the bench in his return, had not played in, I think, 20 games. 24 off the bench. I think you take that if you're Oklahoma City Thunder, especially if Shai is going to see the amount of help and the amount of doubles that he got in that game. Just having another pressure relief guy was very important for them. So I wanted to salute them. Can I ask you a narrative question, Steve?
Sure.
Did this game swing the MVP discussion for you in any real way?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I still have my list. Like it's depending on. I had Shai. I had Shai for the majority of the year, so it didn't really. There's nothing really to swing to a degree. Yeah. Sorry. Did it swing it for you, man?
Not really. And I think like we've had conversations across years on the pod where like I don't really care that much about head-to-head matchups when it comes to the MVP discussion. Like that is very low on my list. And I feel like I'm in the minority on that front. I'm just like, we have 82 games.
Sure are. Yeah, but I played this one game and I took it to you. My trophy.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm just like, this was nice. This is like one of 82, or if like depending on the candidate, like one of 78, or whatever the number ends up being. It's way less important to me than it is to the majority of folks, and I own that. That's fine. And so to answer your question, like, no, it didn't swing it for me, but I did see a lot of the Shai hits that game winner. Like, oh nah, this is just his. If you had any question about Jokic taking it over for him, whatever, this is it. And I always look at things like, okay, what if Shai has like 17 in the next game and Jokic has another 30-point triple-double? Like, does that then mean like it's, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't like, I don't like the scene.
It's a different game. They're not playing each other. I have a question for you. How many games can Shai miss to stay eligible?
Not too many. I think like 7 or something like that. I can get that quickly though. But he is still eligible. He is on pace for eligibility. So like, I don't, you know. It does get funny if he becomes ineligible. Jokic, I think, still not on pace yet. As you know, I track the have you played 79% of your team's games yet. So Jokic still not in right now. Shai is.
Sure do. You've been real quiet.
Hey, dude,
torching that rule. Yeah, you've been real silent about that, huh?
If you want my own
talk about that rule. No, I don't. Well, I want to talk about the Eastern Conference. You were real quiet as people been jumping you low key. I didn't see you defend that 65 game rule this year. They're real quiet from Nekias Duncan.
I think it's fine. I understand why people are angry about it. A lot of people just didn't like it to begin with, and so now that Jokic, Wemby, like Luka gets hazy, and it's like, hey, why are we doing this? I'm just like, well, this is just kind of what happens when you don't play games. So like, I haven't felt the need to say a whole bunch of stuff. But like that's where we're at.